Hey everyone, it wouldn't be me if I didn't have a goal setting episode for you guys. So a little different than what we normally do. This is not just related to lashes, but just goals in life. As you know, I'm a big fan of The Secret. I also spend a lot of time modeling people that are successful to try to figure out how to be more successful in my life. And I wanted to share with you some of the things I learned. We hear a lot from accounts that they're stuck or they feel frustrated and maybe they're ready to give up on their goals. So without further ado, I'm gonna hop right into the process I do for my goal setting at the beginning of the year and how I maintain that throughout the year. The first thing I do anytime I'm gonna sit down and work on my goals is I take note of all the accomplishments of the time period before. So if I'm doing my New Year's goals for the whole year, I sit down and think about everything I accomplished the year before. Now, normally I'm doing this process every week, so I already have a going list every week where I note the things that I had already achieved from my goal list. So for example, my goals for last year, last January, we decided we wanted to find the kids a better community to go to school in, because we were currently in LA, which for those of you that know, does not have a great public school system. And we didn't really want to pay for private, and I really do believe in public education. So we wanted to move to an area that had good public schools. I've also always wanted to live at the beach. It's been like a lifelong dream of mine. I'm a Cancer, I love being near water. So we wanted to find our beach house. And I also wanted to have a home that I felt like I could host, have friends over, have family over that was big enough. Our current house in LA, or our house we were living in LA, was so small I felt like I could never have company. So I basically got a really clear vision on what I wanted to do. We decided we were gonna make that happen in January, and by April we were moving, which was extremely fast, much faster than I had planned. But I'm saying this as an example because I didn't know exactly how we were gonna do that. I didn't know how we were gonna afford to do that. I didn't know how much money we were getting on the house we had to sell first, how long that was gonna take. All I knew was a very clear picture of what I wanted to happen. And then that's all you really need to do when you're starting out to set your goals. So for this year, that was a huge accomplishment. So last year we sold a house, bought a house, moved to a great school district for our kids. We're able to host our whole family for Christmas, 11 people. So that was a lot of the things that I accomplished for that one specific category. So to get back to my method, I would write down that as an accomplishment. So we're going to write down all our accomplishments of the year, because I think it's really important when we set our goals to also appreciate and have gratitude for what we have accomplished. It's easy to always be thinking about the next step, the next step, the next step, but you really don't get the opportunity to enjoy that if you're not actually taking stock of what you are accomplishing and really living in that moment and being appreciative for the things you are accomplishing and the reasons why. Because it's one thing to say, I have a goal of having a bigger house, or I want to have more money. But if you don't have the reason behind it, like I want to afford to give my kids a certain opportunity, or I want to spend more time with my friends and family, or I want to help a group, or if you don't have that reasoning, it's really, life just isn't as fulfilling to me. So I would take stock of everything I've accomplished. And then I would look at my areas of improvement. So this I take from Tony Robbins, but he has his categories of improvement. So a category would be like personal health and fitness, financial, business, family, friends, home, and you have your different categories. You should really have no more than like 12 categories. Somewhere between 7 and 12 would probably be a good number of categories of your life. And remember, when we set our goals, we're one person. So I think for me, I had a habit of really compartmentalizing different areas of my life. But everything really has to work together. It has to balance. You have to have yin and yang. So it's really great when you make your goals to think about yourself as a whole person and not just have your career goals and then separately have your home and family goals, because they need to be able to interact. And really, when we're accomplishing certain goals, it helps everywhere else. For example, health and fitness, mine might be to get to the gym every day. But that actually helps me at work, because now I get to work more awake, more energized. I have more energy to make it through the day, give a good vibe to my clients. So everything in our life does interact. So you figure out your categories of improvement, and you should have no more than like 3 goals in each category. You could have more goals than that, but you don't want to focus on all of that at once. So I would have 3 at any given time that I'm really focused on. And then it could be one of those things like once you accomplish it, you can have a queue and the next goal pops up. So I would figure out my categories and then the 3 major goals for each category. And again, you're brainstorming. You don't need to know exactly how you're going to get there. So your goal might be to pay off all your debt, or to have a savings to be able to go on a fabulous trip. Whatever that goal is you don't have to exactly know how you're doing it at this stage. You just want to have a very clear picture of what you want. And by clear picture, I mean you don't want to say, I want more money. Because what does that mean? That could be, oh, I found $1 on the street today. You really want to have a specific amount, and you want to know the reasoning behind it, because emotion and reason is what drives us to complete our goals. Otherwise, it's just a wish list. So for example, if I said I wanted to earn more money at work, what would that look like? Well, I want to have a 30% increase on last year, and I want that because it's going to allow me to grow the company in this way. I can launch 2 more products, give some of my best employees a raise, and that would be really fulfilling because I know how hard they work. So you really want to have all of that meaning and reason behind, because we as humans, we move for emotion, right? Do you ever like jump through hoops for something you really love, but if it's just a task on your to-do list, it gets pushed, it gets pushed, it gets pushed, another year goes by. If there's really no emotion or reason behind it, chances are you're not going to actually fulfill that commitment to yourself. So you want to be clear on what you want when you write your vision board or make your goals, or however you're going to track your progress. You want to be really clear, and you do want to write it, because when you write something, you'll see where you need more clarity. You know, in your head, you might have a picture of a fabulous vacation, but when you write it down, you really have to put words and language to that thought. And the words and language, our brain are a computer. That's going to help our brain really know what to look for and what to do. So we want to make sure we're putting the right information into the computer. If you just say, I want a trip, and you're not specific, your brain just might send you to, you know, Cleveland, Ohio, when you're really wanting to go to Italy. The other thing is sometimes people say, Mandy, I have so many goals. You really want to know the difference between a goal, a project, and a habit. A goal is something that's a major progress, like a major achievement, a change in course. A project is something that's your normal trajectory, your normal progress. For example, at work, opening more accounts would be like a project. But making major progress by increasing your bottom line by 40% with different projects under that would be a goal, if that makes sense. So another example, a project could be launching Instagram, because that's part of your marketing plan. But your goal might be increase our fan base by X percentage and really drive a raving fan culture for my brand. So there's a difference between a project, a goal, and a habit. The goal is like an overarching major results, whereas the project is just a series of tasks that have an end result, if that makes sense. And then a habit is something like, I'm going to drink more water, or some people say, my goal is to drink more water. Well, that can be a goal, but what is the result? The result would be, I want to be more energetic, I want to be healthier, I want to feel better. So your goal might be to feel your best and look your best in 2020, but the new habit you're going to evoke is drinking more water, going to the gym more, cutting out that gluten or sugar. You know, those are the habits, but the actual goal is the result. So you have to be really clear, because if not, you're not going to get what you really want. So once you have your categories of improvement, your goals, and the reasoning behind those goals, that's when it's time to create your major action plan. So your major action plan can be the top things you can do with the resources you have at hand, and you want to list those resources to make major progress on that goal. So I'm a big subscriber to the 80-20 rule. Usually 20% of our actions give us 80% of the results. So don't become overwhelmed. We're just creating a list here of all the possible things we can do. And then we're going to go through and find the things that are going to give us the most results, because we all are limited by time and we can't all do everything. Resources are ways we can outsource, or people or things that we can use to get to those results quicker by leverage. So for example, my goal was to buy a new house by the beach. My resources were a great realtor, Redfin, talking to people, things like that would be my resources. And then my reasoning I explained to you is for my kids, for my family, for myself. And then the major action steps would be something like find a great realtor, finish repairing our kitchen, paint the house, finish the landscaping, list the house, take the pictures for the house, And we could group those, right? So you can kind of chunk them so it's not as overwhelming. Get the house ready for sale would be the chunk. List the house, figure out what it's worth, sell it. Then we want to house shop. You know, these are all different steps to make major progress towards that goal. And you can break those steps down by month, by quarter, but the key here is to schedule them. Because it's one thing to say my goal is to buy a new house, but if you never take those further steps to create the processes and then schedule it, it's going to be really hard to make major progress. So when you have something on your schedule and you know there's a deadline, you're more apt to do it. And then when there's a feeling or emotion behind it, you have the reasons to do it. So my goals might be by the end of the week, I want to get my house on Redfin or on Zillow or wherever listed for top dollar. And again, we're very clear, for top dollar with beautiful photos and a great video drone shot. And I want it to be able to sell in a few weeks. That would be like a project under this major goal. And I give myself a deadline. And then for each of those tasks, I'm gonna have meet with the realtor. It's gonna be on my calendar. And you'll notice your most important things, the things that are your major progress or your major goals to fulfill, are the things that should be taking up more time on your calendar. If you don't schedule that, you're gonna look at your day and realize I'm filling my time with tasks that aren't really making major progress towards my actual goals for the year. For example, if I don't schedule that out, my day might look like grab coffee, drop the kids to school, get to work, respond to some emails, call some people back, chit chat with my clients, do a few sets of lashes, have lunch, come home, listen to something on audiobook on tape, and I don't feel like I'm making major progress every day. So instead, I will do something like in the car, call X, Y, and Z. That's going to make major progress on finding that realtor. Or call X, Y, and Z. That's going to make major progress on finding a new vendor or supplier. So I'll schedule my time in the car, for example, to make some really important calls. Then when I get there, I have 2,000 emails a day. So some of my resources might be utilizing my assistant to help me filter through my emails. The things that are most important to me or my major goals are the emails that I need to spend the most time on. Other things, sometimes my assistant can answer, or a video could be sent that I've already answered some of these questions. So in summary, I know it's a lot of information, but you want to have a major plan. Yeah, I do believe you have to put your goals out there and you're going to attract things like the secret, if you guys have watched those videos. But you need to also have some sort of action plan. You can't just hope and wish and pray. And the thing is, once you have that action plan, it becomes real to your brain and then it becomes a standard and you're not going to settle for less than that. So when I just say, oh, I want to go to the gym more, I only half believe that if it's not planned, if it's not on my schedule. If I actually set, hey, from 8 to 9, I'm going to be at the gym this morning, every day, every Monday for the next 10 weeks and on Wednesdays and Fridays, then my brain knows, hey, this is something that's happening. And I wake up and say, it's time for the gym. And it's a standard now. It's not a hope or a goal. So I hope that gives you guys a little bit more clarity on how you can set your goals and make sure they happen. I know as a company, we have a lot of exciting things we're launching. We have 5 new products we're launching. We have a lot more trainings coming up, and we are here at LAshX to help you if there's anything we can do as far as your training goals, your marketing, anything that we can do to help you. We'd love to get on a call with you, and we wish you all a successful, lashful 2020. Thanks so much for joining us.